The first set of techniques we're going to learn deal with using the fingers to do locks. Now, when it comes to locking, what we're talking about, we talk about grappling or joint manipulation, is we're talking about controlling a person by putting their one or more joints into a hold or a lock which causes enough pain for them to discontinue whatever they're doing. It's pain compliance is one of the words which is used. And the way that we're going to begin is we're going to begin with a standard finger lock. Now I'm going to show how to do it, and then I'm going to go back and show how I would actually get to the technique. So let's begin simply showing how a finger lock works. We'll start out, we call this the index finger lock. And I want to go ahead and say this was made world famous by Professor Wally J in his small circle jiu-jitsu system. And I have had the pleasure of attending seminars with Grandmaster J and with Professor J and his son Leon, and they are great men. And if you want to go further in the study of finger locking, I recommend Professor Wally J's books, Professor Wally J's videotapes, and attending seminars with Leon J, as Professor has passed on. So, just wanted to make that known that this technique was made famous by Professor Wally J. As his finger is stuck out, the index finger, I am going to use the principle of fulcrum, lever, and base. I'm going to reach up using my pinky as the fulcrum. His finger is going to become the lever, and I'm going to rotate my wrist in this direction. When I do that, his hand is going to come towards me, and I'm going to create a base on my body. Just like this. And you see the direction he's in. You see that he is now down. I can attack him. And I know a lot of people say, well, he doesn't look like he's under control. I want to give him an opportunity now to actually motivate towards me. I'm going to put him in the lock. Now, reach for me. If I tighten the lock up, he's not able to get to me. Now, I will go ahead and say, if he's sweaty or if they're in quick, tense situations, it might be very difficult to grab a hold of a digit. But the reality is sometimes people give you the digit. If a situation is becoming volatile, a person may just stick their finger right into your chest. Now, just because he sticks his finger in my chest doesn't automatically give me the right to attack him. But if I see that I need to protect myself, if he's cornered me, or if he's put me in a situation, and maybe there's something in his other hand, and he's given me this digit, I can bring my hand up, lock, and control. Notice that time I use the other hand. I just want to demonstrate you can use either. And if I want to avoid line of sight, because if I reach here, he might pull his finger away because he sees me going after it. But here he doesn't see it coming before, now he's locked. Also, I don't want to leave my finger out because he might reach up and grab here. I want to make sure I keep my fingers curled as I'm doing this. Don't want to keep my fingers out. So that is what we call the index finger lock. Another way to get to it, if he goes to push, I might just grab and lock and he's here. Just like that. Index finger lock. The next lock with the fingers we call the two-finger hold, or sometimes I will refer to it as the ring-pinky lock. The ring-pinky lock is done with the ring finger and the pinky. This one, I am going to take my thumb, stick it in between his final two fingers, rotate, leaving my finger pointed out. That's going to become the fulcrum, and I'm going to rotate up. Older jiu-jitsu systems would grab the whole hand and lock. You can do that. But again, this is painful. This is more painful. You saw him go up through his toes. All I did was switch to the two fingers. Somebody may ask, how do you get there? Well, again, if he grabs me by the wrist, I might just wrap on the back of his hand. The bones on the back of the hand are called the metacarpals. If I knock on those, his hand will come open. There's my lock. I just transition into the lock. Again, he grabs, I just slam that open, and I'm in the lock, just like that. Or, it works very well with the original finger lock. If he points his finger at me, and I go and do this lock, and I put him in a standard index finger lock, and he's fighting me, and I want to control him better, I might shift my finger down and come up, and now I can control him and maybe walk him out of the room. Notice I'm keeping this here for pressure. All this is I'm creating a base. Fulcrum, lever, base. Base. I may take a new ground. Base. Alright, so there we have index finger lock, ring pinky lock. Alright, the final in this quick set that we're doing, all dealing with the fingers, is going to be what's called the standing center lock. The standing center lock. Alright, the standing center lock, if he is pointing his finger at me, I grab a hold of his index finger, I've got this finger locked. Now, I can roll him up to here and lock like this. This is called the standing center lock. There are other ways to get to this lock, but since we're working on the fingers, I felt like this is a way. Also, this does have a finger component because his pinky, if I can grab his pinky and rotate it backward, it creates more pain for him. Again, the mechanics of this lock are very simple. His hand is turned palm facing away, elbow up. My hand grabs, does the same motion as the finger lock. Now, when you do this lock, you have a tiger by the tail. What I mean by that is if I go to do the standing center lock and his elbow is below his shoulder here, I can still make it work, but watch. He can rotate and elbow me. And if I catch that elbow on my jaw, that might be the end of the fight for me. However, when the elbow goes over the shoulder, now try. Rotate. He's not able to. See, there's the difference. So again, he points the finger at me, I can go here, there, two finger hold. I've got a hold. Now, he points the finger at me. I go here, lock, standing center lock. Either one of those, and I bring his pinky back, creates more pain. If he tries to swing at me, I just rotate into him. He's not able. Because if he does, he is going to break his own arm. So that's 3 different locks that we do, all from the single finger lock, or the single index finger lock. Starting with the index finger lock, going to a 2-finger hold. Starting with the index finger lock, going to a standing center lock. That's a variation of 3 different grappling techniques, all using the fingers.